Browns wrapped up the joint practice with the Eagles in Philadelphia. That's where Spencer German joins us from, 92.3 The Fan, Cleveland Browns on SI, Locked On Browns podcast. Spencer, you're in Philadelphia. Watched the joint practice. What were your takeaways from day one of two?
Yeah, I think obviously the quarterback situation continues to dominate the conversation for sure. And with the update to Shador on the oblique injury, that was kind of a wrench that nobody expected. It kind of just feels like in that room, things are sort of sorting themselves out without Kevin Stefanski really having to make much of a decision, but we'll see what obviously the rest of the week brings. I thought that the defense played really well against the Eagles offense. I thought the defensive line in particular, which I've talked a ton about being sort of the engine to the car for this Browns team this year, just in general. Obviously on the defensive side of the ball specifically, yes, but also just in general. Like I think this team's going to kind of go as that group goes, and they're going to set the tone for everybody else to kind of build off of. I thought they were really good. Got some pressure on Jalen Hurts a couple times. Actually forced a pick late in practice from Ronnie Hickman that sort of contributed to that. But it also was like each guy sort of had a moment. Like Myles Garrett was back there a couple times. Mason Graham held his own and was pushing the pocket on a couple of plays that I noticed where going up against this offensive line, they're one of the best in football, if not the best in football, and to sort of see him do that was I think encouraging for people. And I thought conversely, like the Browns offense, a little bit of sloppiness to it at times. There was a few drops in there. I know Jerry had one. I'm trying to think. There was a couple others I can't remember off the top of my head who had a couple drops as well. But I think in general, like there were some wins and losses for both teams on both fields where it was one's offense going against the other. And yeah, I felt like if you're a Browns fan, like coming away from today feeling like the defense is showing you what they can be and what we all thought they could be is a pretty encouraging thing to come out of today. I think the offense is still a work in progress, but I'll say this. It doesn't look like a complete disaster like it did much of last year, even during those joint practices and even during training camp. I think that's honestly maybe one of the biggest things in general is last year, those joint practices, we walked away from those being like, this is not good. And I think today you at least saw like, okay, this group's going to be more competitive than they were a year ago. And that's obviously, I think, a good tone to set for this offense because if they can just be more competent than last year, then I think they're in a lot more games and have a chance to win a lot more games.